and welcome back to another episode of So You Want to Be a Millionaire. I'm your co-host, Sharla Brown, joined with the one and only Jacquie Somerville, also co-founder of 100 Most Powerful Women, where we help women look like a million, feel like a million, impact millions, and make millions of dollars. How are you today, Jacquie?
Hey, Sharla, I'm doing great, thank you. Always love doing this show, talking about being a millionaire. What's not to love?
Absolutely. And today's topic is, well, dreaming big. And you have big dreams for your life. That's what we're going to be talking about today. So if you have a big dream that you have, feel free to throw it in the comments below. Share it with us. Put it out to the world and the universe. We'll talk about the power of that today. So Jacquie, what do we want to start with in terms of the power of dreaming big?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing is to just acknowledge how difficult people find this. It's really interesting to me that when you think that what dreaming costs us nothing, right? It costs us absolutely nothing. And yet so many people are hesitant to allow themselves to dream because people are naturally seem to be wired to avoid disappointment. So we would rather not dream and have the chance of it coming true than have the chance of being disappointed that it doesn't. How bizarre is that? And yet that's human nature. So I want you guys to start off by really realizing and having awareness around that. What do I have to lose? What does it cost me to dream? It costs you nothing to dream, and it costs you everything not to. So that's where I want to start today. So really catch yourself and ask yourself, why am I not dreaming? What am I afraid of? And what does it cost me? Because as the great Les Brown says, if you aim for the moon and you land among the stars, isn't that a great place to land? You might as well aim for the moon, because if you fail to hit it, at least you will land among the stars. I'm paraphrasing him, but he said something like that. And that is the absolute truth. And wouldn't you love to land among the stars? So what does it cost you to dream? Zip, zero, nothing. And you could reach the moon, and at the very worst, you could land among the stars. Costs you everything not to. So that's what I want to start off with today, Sharla.
Absolutely, Jacquie. And it just makes me think of when we were all little girls, how easy it was to dream. We dreamed every single day. We used the power of our imagination to just dream big dreams, what we wanted. And we dared to ask for it. We didn't know how it was going to happen because we didn't sit there with a bank account full of money or any of that kind of stuff. We wanted ponies, we wanted, the newest doll or whatever the case might be for our life. And we dare to dream and think about those things and, using the power of our imagination. And, we didn't think twice about it. But it's funny, as we get older, how that mindset changes in terms of how we dream. All of a sudden, we take on the responsibilities of the world. As we get older and we have financial responsibilities, maybe we start families and we have children and all those kind of things. And all the big dreams for our life get set aside. And it's funny how that happens so easily that we forget how easy it is to dream if we go back into that childlike state, using the power of our imagination to really be able to dream the big dreams that we do have for our life and what we want. The thing is as we get older, we're trying to figure out how it's going to happen for us, as opposed to just dreaming those big dreams and letting go of how that comes to pass. And so, what were some of those big dreams that you had as a little girl? Share those with us in the comments. Do you remember dreaming as a kid? I remember laying outside, putting out a blanket, staring at, the clouds outside, and just really imagining my own life, because I knew that there was a big world out there. And I had no problem dreaming big dreams for my life. But I know that as you get older, as we take on more responsibilities in our life, somehow our dreams get pushed to the side and we forget how to do that.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And that's where I found myself when I was 33, was I realized, why was I living such an awful life? Like, that wasn't the life I'd signed up for as a little girl. As you say, we had these big dreams, and I felt connected to God, and I believed anything I wanted could come true. And yet I'd bought into reality, what everybody said, oh, you've got to live in reality, and, you know, you've got to be sensible and follow the normal path and blah, blah, blah. And all that happened was that my life got smaller and smaller and smaller. And I found myself, you know, living paycheck to paycheck in debt, like not being able to cover my bills every month, in a little rental apartment, and accepting a dying relationship and a dead-end job and all of that. And suddenly I woke up and I thought, what are you putting up with here? This is just a lot of nonsense. This is not you. What are you putting up with? And I analyzed it, and I realized that that's what had happened. I'd stopped dreaming. Simple as that. I'd stopped dreaming. I'd bought into all of this nonsense and all of this reality that everybody always talks about. To me, there is no reality. I know that now because of how things turned out for me, how I became a multimillionaire overnight, how everything has unfolded for me ever since then. I've realized that there is no reality, that we decide our own reality. This whole notion that we have to buy into someone else's reality is a bunch of crap. We decide our own reality. And as you and I always talk about, we make that happen with this divine connection that we tap into, with faith, with divine intelligence, with God, that we know that together we can do anything and everything. And so I started to dream again. And it was just that realization of, what do you want? What do you really want without limitations? If you could have anything at all. So there I sat in my little rental apartment with my journal and my pen and going, okay, don't know how I'm going to make it happen, but I can get clear about what I want. Oh yeah, I want horses again. I want a dog. I want to be an animal philanthropist. I want private jet. I want first class travel. I want to design a wardrobe. I want, multiple homes, one in the sun, blah, 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 blah. I got super clear and audacious about writing it down. And I dreamt about it, and it felt so good because when I was dreaming about it, I was living it already. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. How do you walk in the consciousness of the woman who's already manifested? Because that's a key part to making your dreams come true. How do you do that? Well, I would get super excited and I would play pretend every day, just like you guys do when you watch a movie. You suspend all disbelief, don't you? When you find yourself watching a movie, when you see something gory happening, don't you go like this? But there's actors. Intellectually, it's actors. Reality is that it's actors and that it's ketchup or whatever that they're using. That's reality. So why does your body go, oh no, I can't watch this? You've suspended disbelief and you're believing and you're in that movie. Well, that's the same thing with your imagination. If you can get into your imagination and suspend all disbelief and get in there as though it is absolutely real, that's the key to turning your dreams into reality right there. Right there. So I would go into my imagination and I would be so happy because I already had those beautiful homes. I already had the designer wardrobe in my imagination, and the joy that I would conjure up just pretending was so huge that it became my reality faster than I could have ever predicted or done on my own through divine intervention. So all I would say to you is, if you stop dreaming, it's time to start dreaming without limitations, and forget about how on earth you're going to make it happen, because I want to tell you there's no logic and reason to that at all. And if you try to apply logic and reason to that, you are keeping yourself small.
Well said, Jackie. So that's the thing, is what keeps us from dreaming? What is it that happens that we get lost in not dreaming along the way? And what is going to motivate us to start dreaming again? And I think you hit the nail on the head, Jackie, where it's like you wake up one day and you're dissatisfied. You're not happy with your life. Something needs to change. Maybe there's something in you that's been calling you to something greater in your life. That this can't be it. This can't be all. There's got to be something more for my life. And I think we've all had those moments where you wake up and you just say, this can't be it. This can't just be it. I know I was put on this earth for something greater. Yes, that is something that's divinely planted in you. It's always calling you to dream a bigger dream, to have the life that you want, the life that you imagine. We weren't meant to struggle on this earth. We weren't meant to live paycheck to paycheck and, always dissatisfied and unhappy and waking up just existing with a mediocre life. You were meant for more. And that's the thing is with the thousands of women we've met around the world, they're realizing that for their life is that this can't be it. But somewhere along the way, we get lost because we stopped dreaming big. And that's what we're going to teach you how to do today is how do you start dreaming big for your life? Why is that so important for your life and for everyone around you? Is that when you start dreaming big, you're inspiring others around you to do the same. You change your entire environment. Anything that you want, all that you dreamed of, well, it's waiting for you. Your job is to start dreaming. And that's the thing is that it starts creating your reality as soon as you start doing it and how powerful dreaming big can be. So what's the first step, Jackie? Where do people start to start dreaming a bigger dream?
Well, first of all, I would love to give them a couple more reasons to do it. And so that you're convinced that it is the thing to do. The first one is I've already said to you, if you shoot for the moon and you land among the stars, isn't that a pretty great place to land? So that's a good reason to start dreaming big, right? Shoot for the moon. The second one is that there's not so much traffic on the extra mile. That you can dream a super big dream because there's not many people who are allowing themselves to do it. And so there's plenty of room up there for you in the big dreamland space. The third thing is that when you dream big, it causes you to enlist that really important thing that you have, which is called potential. So dreaming big enables you to start utilizing your amazing potential. And what I've discovered in my life is that happiness really is the joy we feel when we're in pursuit of our full potential. That to me, there is no better definition of happiness. When we're in pursuit of our full potential, we feel fulfilled. I think fulfilled is an even better word. And so when you are dreaming a big dream and that makes you engage a lot of your potential, you're going to naturally feel so much more fulfilled and therefore happy. So I think those are some really, really good reasons to kick the reality nonsense to the curb and start opening yourself up to dreaming. And the way that I would start doing that is through brainstorming. I'm a huge believer in journals. I love a beautiful journal. I love to sort of doodle in my journal about philosophy and whatever's on my mind. And I love using my journal for my goals and my dreams because there is nothing right or wrong. You just get to put whatever you want on paper. No one else is looking at it. No one else is judging it. So what if they do? But it is a beautiful place for you to just open up and say, if I had 10 million or 100 million or whatever it is for you that enables you to go, what would I do? And you know how many times I've said to clients, imagine, what would you do with 10 million? And they'd be like, and I cannot believe that they don't jump at that opportunity to go down that path and start imagining what 10 million would do for their lives. And they haven't ever thought of it. And I get that all the time. Or I say to them, wave a magic wand and pretend you could have anything in your life. What would you want? Well, I've never really thought about that. I can't tell you how many times people have said that to me, and it just makes me clutch because I'm like, that is so sad. Oh my goodness. It costs you nothing to dream. Why aren't you dreaming? Why aren't you imagining what it would be like? Because the more you do that, the more you're living in it, the more you're imagining it. When you imagine it, the brain doesn't know the difference between living it and imagining it. Like we talked about with the movie scenario, you're in it, you're living it. Once you start living something, it starts coming towards you in reality. And so it's really, really, really important that you dream and allow yourself to go into that dreamland state, because in that dreamland state, you're drawing it to you in actuality. So get a pen and paper and play that game. If I had $10 million right now, what would I do? And so often people will say to me, well, I'd maybe trade my car in for a better car. And I'd be like, you got 10 million. What else? That's all you're going to do? What else? Well, maybe I'd give like a few million to my family. Yeah, okay. So now we've got 8 million left to go. Give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. And they're like, well, maybe I'll go on a vacation. Okay. We got 10 million people. Like, let's think big here. It's really an interesting exercise. And if you can't get your head around imagining what you would do with 10 million, imagine what you would do with 1,000,000. Start there if you can't get your head around anything else. And if you're there, go to 10. If you're at 10, go to 100 million. What would you do? What would you do? Because then you can start to really journal on that stuff and brainstorm. Just have an amazing brainstorming session. And every time you stop yourself and think, but how, or what if I can't? What if I fail? Catch yourself. Catch yourself. That's not my business. That's not my job. My job is to just have fun putting it out there. What am I going to put out there? Remember that statement. Write it everywhere. Costs me nothing to dream, and it costs me everything not to. And then go for it. The other
Absolutely.
thing, yeah, and there's another thing too, which is start living your life. In other words, what can you do right now that you've been putting off, that's interesting to you, that you're curious about? Booking a trip, broadening your horizons, going shopping in a place that you've never allowed yourself to go shopping before. Go window shopping. Drive through the neighborhoods that you've never allowed yourself to drive through before because you don't want to even face the fact that that exists and you don't think you can have it. Start exposing yourself to bigger things, to more of life, expansion. Is that educating yourself? Is that traveling? Is that reaching out to somebody that you were too afraid to reach out to before? What have you been putting off? What are you curious about? If you start expanding your life in that way, you're naturally going to be exposed to new ways of living. You're naturally going to be exposed to new countries, new products, new services that you didn't even know existed. And when we know they exist, we can now know to dream about them. So that's another thing I would suggest. Any itches you haven't scratched yet, go and scratch them. Follow your curiosity. Stop saying no to yourself. Expand your life. Expand your horizons. You'll be exposed to things, and then you'll be able to dream about them.
Absolutely, Jackie. And one of the things we run into is a lot of women who believe that it's not for them. And it's like, why not you? It's not just for a lucky few in this world or for the rich and famous. They all have a story. You know, we've heard some of the most inspiring stories from some of the, most rich and famous people from around the world that dared to dream big. They weren't always rich and successful. The difference was they dared to dream big and believe that it's possible for their life. I tell the Jim Carrey story all the time. The guy is a struggling actor, comedian, struggling to just pay his bills, but following a dream. What he knows is his passion and his purpose. He knows he's talented. And we run into that all the time with the women that we meet from around the world who have all this talent and potential in them. But they're struggling to make it, to make and monetize what they do. But they believe in what they're doing. But then you need to dare to ask the universe for it. Jim Carrey drives up to the Hollywood sign, writes himself a check for $10 million, puts it in his wallet, dared to ask the universe for it, believed every day that it was coming together for him. And it was within months that he signed his first deal for Dumb and Dumber for $10 million. I love that story. And there's so many of these stories. If you look at what's happened for people in their life, why not you? Why are you not dreaming big? As Jackie said, it costs you nothing to dream big. And everything's waiting for you. Whether that's writing out your big goals and dreams like Jackie suggested. Most of us ladies have a journal. Why not write your big goals and dreams in there? Ask the universe for them. Or write yourself that big check that you're wanting to make this year. Tuck it into your purse. Look at it every day. Look at behind Jackie. You see a vision wall. I see a private jet there. I see her Lamborghini Urus waiting for her. You know, all the things that she's manifesting into her life. We are powerful, ladies, that if we dare to dream big, the thing is what do you want? You know, get excited about it. What would excite you if you could have any life that you dream of? You know, what does that look like for you? What would excite you every day? Make you want to get out of bed? You know, being able to have that kind of money. What could you do with it? Who could you help? How could you change the world? You know, how could you do what you do with ease and flow, having that abundance in your life? You know, what does it feel like to dream big? You know, if you live with that kind of excitement every day, you become a magnet to the lifestyle you want. Because as soon as you start dreaming big, and you dare to ask the universe for it, put it out there boldly and confidently, all the universe starts to conspire to make it all possible. Problem is, we're trying to figure out how it's going to happen for us. And that's what keeps us from thinking small, getting into our small mind. As you know, the great Wayne Dyer would always say, our ego, edging God out, trying to figure it all out for ourselves. And as Jackie alluded to earlier, is that it's none of our business as to how it's going to happen. The universe has ways and means we never could have even fathomed to make this possible for our life. And Jackie, I'd love for you to share just your own story, because you talked about that in terms of struggling in your 30s, but that how you got so crystal clear and how quickly the universe delivered when you had that kind of clarity.
Yeah. Just on what you just said about the hows, I always say, if you knew how to make your dreams come true, you're dreaming way too small. So you don't want to know how. You want it to be the wildest, most amazing dream that you don't know how, because that's the way it's going to be big. And so, yeah, I got super clear just because I was not interested. You know, when our current situation becomes kind of unbearable to us and unacceptable to us, that's when we make the changes. And I certainly wasn't interested in living that way anymore. I got to the point where I was like, this is so not my life. I got to figure out how. There's enough successful people on the planet who I can learn from. So I started studying. How does this happen? And I realized that my thoughts and beliefs created my reality. That was the single sentence that changed everything for me. Was when I came upon all those teachings. And honestly, Oprah had a lot of gurus on at that time, back in the 90s, about who were teaching about thoughts and beliefs. And I remember this one woman called Gail Blanky wrote a book called In Your Wildest Dreams or something. And that was the first time I was in riveted, rapt attention about what this woman was saying, and it resonated with me. It took me back to that little girl who knew her life was going to be great, who knew she could have anything, who was connected to God. When this woman was talking, and I bought her book and I started studying everything, because whatever I've bought, I don't just read it. I do the exercises. I study it. And I did the exercises. And when I did the exercises, I started to realize what I wanted. And I started to realize that it cost me nothing to just put it out there. And that my thoughts and my beliefs were creating my life. Therefore, if I thought a new thought and believed a new belief, I would change my life. So I suspended all disbelief. I bought into that 100%. And I said, what am I going to think and believe now? So I wrote down, I wanted the horses and the dog, and I wanted the farm, and I wanted the homes in the sun, and I wanted the first class travel, and I wanted to be an animal philanthropist, to be able to treat my family, to help people in need. I wanted to do all of that. I wanted the most incredible wardrobe because I love fashion. And I had dreamt, you know, from an early age of, oh, wouldn't it be amazing to just go to Paris and Milan and just, you know, buy whatever you wanted. And now that I've experienced that, I want to tell you it is amazing. It's so beautiful and so incredible and so wonderful. And that quality makes a huge difference in our lives. Quality matters. And when you've got money, you can buy quality. And it just feels good. The energy is better. Everything about it is better. And so I got really clear about that because I was disinterested in living the way I was living. And we always make the moves when it becomes too uncomfortable to stay where we are, so we're willing to take the discomfort of making the change. And I was at that point. So I got clear, I wrote it down, and I believed. That whole thoughts and beliefs thing really resonated with me. And I was like, okay, then I'm just going to believe. I don't need to know how. I'm just going to believe. And I'm going to think that I can do this. And I just left it. I left that part up to God because I didn't have a clue how to manifest the millions that all that was going to take. What did I do then? Every single day I dwelled on it. Every day, every morning and every evening. I would close my eyes and I would go there. I'd live in my homes. I would fly on those planes. I would save animals. I would help people. I would buy clothes every day in my imagination. And I get so excited, and I knew that it was real. And then when I opened my eyes and I had to go about living in the current life, I did the best that I could with what I had. I looked at my life and I said, what can I do with the resources I have so that I'm doing my part? So that the divine sees me doing my part and moving in the direction, at least in the direction of a better life. So I went about like a crazy woman getting a new job. I sent out 1 million resumes. I went to dozens of interviews. And I doubled the salary that I was at. And that helped me. That gave me breathing room. That enabled me to buy a few better clothes. So I started walking with confidence. I started believing that I was that rich woman. Even though I was just at the time earning like 60 grand or whatever. I was 32, earning $60,000 a year back in the day. And I felt so rich because that money had changed my life from struggling on 30 grand or whatever. And so all of a sudden I started to feel like I was that woman. And I was walking in the confidence of that woman. I started taking better care of my body. I bought a few new clothes. I felt good and I looked good. And one day I walked into a restaurant and I met a man who changed my life completely. And I got in one meeting, I became a multimillionaire. I got love. I got all sorts of beautiful things because I'd asked God for a beautiful man as well. I'd wanted love. I'd put that on the list too. And I got absolutely everything and then some, and then some. All the homes, the cars, the fashion, the whole thing. And a man who loved me. And everybody's life can change in that instance. It doesn't matter where it comes from. We've had clients who won the lottery. We have clients who have money coming from the most outlandish places. We've had money come from the most outlandish places. To this day, money comes to me. I walk down the street, I pick the stuff up on the floor, and I'm not talking about coins, bills, all the time, because God is always showing me there is an abundance. All you have to do is dream and walk in the direction of it. Are you walking in the direction? Are you doing what you can do right now? Because within 3 to 4 months, I don't remember exactly, of writing every single thing down, I got every single thing on that list and then some. It's really quite eerie to go back and look at that notebook. I still have it, and it's in my storage locker. And it just makes my skin just get all goosies when I read that, because the precision of it was extraordinary. The precision. The horses, the ranch, the place in the sun, the dog, the animal philanthropy, the fashion, the man. The precision was incredible, because that's how the universe works if you do it right. Crystal clear, the audacity to dream, the audacity, the complete suspension of disbelief. In other words, buying in 100% that you are in control of your destiny, that your thoughts and your beliefs create your life if you walk with the divine. And you go about being the best you can be with the resources you have right now. Therefore, you are showing the universe that you mean business. You're showing the universe that you're done with the status quo, that you are walking towards the life you want. When you do that, serendipity, friggin' miracles stack up. Miracles. And you know, Sharla, I've got a million stories about the miracles and all of that, right? I mean, it's miraculous. And even when I lost the bulk of my money with, a series of events that are almost inexplicable, even in that, more dreams came true, because all I ever really wanted was to be a successful entrepreneur. So when I lost the money in a tragic event, all of a sudden God said, Jacquie, you've always asked me to be an entrepreneur. Now you have to be, because you don't have anything to fall back on. So here, you dreamt this, my darling. Here, you can have it. You can become a best-selling author. You can become a successful entrepreneur. You can make your own money with your own gifts and talents. It's what you always wanted. And I've stripped you of any comfort right now so that you have to do what you've asked me to do. And here I am. That dream came true. I became a successful female entrepreneur. I became a best-selling author. But I had to strip down again to rock bottom so that I no longer was resting in the comfort, so that I dreamt again, and so that God and I together in faith could make the next dream come true. And I want to tell you that money feels extra delicious when you're in charge of bringing it in, when you have complete freedom and independence. And you can, you and I have built businesses that enable us to make money whenever, to make money when we sleep, to wake up one day and say, I think we need to add to our in our revenue. Well, how do we do that? Oh, well, we've built something already that we can, go to, that we can. It's so fantastic to have something like that, isn't it?
Oh my gosh, Jackie, it makes me think of so many things that's happened. And when you say that, like lots of times we're trying to live this safe, secure life. So we stop dreaming, thinking that, we should be happy with what we have until you can kind of, you're on the other side and are able to look backwards as to making those, big, bold choices and daring to dream big. Because I think of now, I worked for, the federal government. I made a decent salary. But, the fact that now I've made triple my salary in one day, one day, and just how it's like mind blowing in terms of what we feel like we're capable of. But if we dare to allow ourselves to dream big as to, what we're capable of, which I think every woman has in them, that, it's that divine guidance that you have, that there's got to be more to this, or something that's always calling on your heart, to be an entrepreneur, to build a successful business, and that you have everything in you to be massively successful. But you touched on another important point, is the fear that, does set in, that when you do ask for this, so you're dreaming wildly, you dare to dream wildly, you write down your big goals and dreams, and you dare to ask the universe for it, that all of a sudden things start shifting and changing. And that's where we can get scared and lose sight of those big goals and dreams, because our comforts can be taken away, just like that happened to you. And you had to lean on your faith and those big goals and dreams, knowing that they were all coming together for you, even when you didn't have solid ground to stand on anymore.
Yeah.
That's what they say, that, you're either going to learn to fly or you're going to have solid ground to stand on. That's what faith is. And really trusting in that as you dare to ask the universe for it, you can't cling so tightly on those mountains that's moving for you. God is moving mountains to make this possible for you in your life. And you got to trust that process, that when all of a sudden, you lose that crappy job that you hated anyway, that you confidently let it go and stop looking for another crappy job if you know that you're supposed to be a massively successful entrepreneur. That is faith. You've asked for these big goals and dreams. You keep walking in the confidence of that woman who is living those big goals and dreams every single day. And you just keep holding on to that faith, which, faith's believing when common sense tells you not to. We always want something that's tangible. We want to see it happening for our lives. We want to see how it's going to happen for us. And that's just not how faith works. So if you're daring to have big goals and dreams, you're asking the universe for it, well, you also have to let go of how it comes to pass and the timing of how, when that shows up in your life. That's the thing is, we are impatient people. We wanted it yesterday. If all of a sudden we make a decision and we decide to do this business, lots of times we throw in the towel just before the miracle happens, because we're doing what we feel like we should be doing, but the money's not coming in. And so many people that we've worked with, are wanting to give up or throw in the towel. And that's a part of our job. What we do with coaching 100 Most Powerful Women is to just keep women going and working towards towards those big goals and dreams, because then we do watch those miracles happen. That all of a sudden, an extra 60 grand is showing up in their bank account. They're making an extra $20,000 a month in their coaching business. And they're manifesting, the car of their dreams that they've always wanted to have at the price they wanted to have. And now it's sitting in their driveway. And that they're sending their kids to the university of their dreams that they've always wanted to be able to send them to. That all of a sudden, all these miracles start falling into place. But it does take some faith and trust that if you do decide to dream big for your life, you got to let go of all of those things as to how it's going to happen for you, and that it probably is going to take you outside of your comfort zone. And that truly is where the magic happens. It's happened for both Jackie and I in our life, where, I always say, hang on to the holy shit handle. You're going for a ride. And it's the best ride of your life.
Yeah.
Dare to dream big. It's the best ride of your life.
It's so true. Sharla, I love how no matter what subject we're talking about, it always comes back to faith for us, right? I mean, it really is the biggest thing for us. And it's even when we talk about dreams, we end up talking about faith. And it's the big thing. And you're so right that if people are impatient, it's the opposite of faith. Because impatience is sort of worry, it's angst, which is the opposite. Faith is relaxed. Faith is trusting. And so when we are impatient and when we're giving God the divine timelines, we're blocking our dreams. And so I do believe in divine timing, and I do believe in manifesting what we desire under grace in a perfect way. Because you hear stories about people being, I really want that blue, let's say Maserati. I want that blue Maserati. And the next thing you know, they get rear-ended by a blue Maserati. It showed up in their life all right, but it wasn't under grace in a perfect way, And so you've got to be super careful. You've got to really let go of impatience. You can't demand and get all anxious and mad with God. It's like, under grace in a perfect way. I trust divine timing. I'm just going to keep doing my next step. I'm going to keep walking in faith toward my dream. What can I do right now with what I have? And I'm going to just trust that everything I've asked for shows up in divine timing while I'm doing my thing. That's the key to it. You don't dream with this I hope it comes true. When is it coming true? Am I getting a sign that it's coming true? Because you're blocking it. And it can come to you in a cataclysmic way. People want $1 million. Well, they can get in an accident and get a payout for $1 million. You don't want that. You want the millions to come to you under grace in a perfect way. So chill, relax, dream big, and drop all of that angst and impatience around it. Faith tells you it's coming under grace in a perfect way. Faith, 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 faith.
Yeah, absolutely, Jackie. And, we get that question all the time in terms of, how do you manifest these things into your life? And, that's definitely something we're going to cover on a future episode, because Jackie and I are both master manifestors, what we've manifested into our life. When you look at, where we came from, where we started, it doesn't always make a whole lot of sense, but that's what faith is, just trusting. And how do you trust that divine guidance? How do you co-create your life along with, God or spirit or whatever it is that you believe? And, how do you attract that abundance into your life? And that's definitely going to be a upcoming episode that we're going to teach you how to do that as well, because every woman can have this for their life. And it all starts with dreaming big. One of the challenges I find that women have as well is that, it's a one day or a someday, as opposed to dreaming big right now.
Yeah.
We put ourselves on the back burner so many times in terms of, when the kids get older, they move out of the house, or, when my finances are better, when I have, more money, or, whatever the case might be, what we tell ourselves, or what you're telling yourself as to what's keeping you from dreaming big. And the best time to dream big is right now. Because the thing is that you're putting all those things into your life. If you have debt or whatever the case is that's because you're not dreaming big. You have the power to change all of that and to be able to do it, in a perfect way, under grace in a perfect way, just like Jackie said. So that, it doesn't mean that it's got to be, hard work and hustle and grind that your family suffers. It's not waiting till the kids get older, because you can have that dream life with your kids. Enjoy those family vacations, being able to send your kids to the school of their dreams, whatever the case is. That's what the power of dreaming is that it doesn't just affect you, it overflows into every area of your life. It can also include the love of your life. Like Jackie said, she didn't just manifest and dream money into her life. She created the life of her dreams. She had somebody to love and share it with that just adored her. You can dream the life of your dreams, and the best time to do it is now, not one day. When I'm better or healthier, or when this done or that's done or whatever, that one day you wake up, an old lady saying, I wish I woulda, coulda, or shoulda. My gosh, you can have the life of your dreams right now. And so don't ever put anything on hold. Everything you want's waiting for you. You just need to dream big and ask for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you said it, Sharla. That's so beautiful. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we help women dream big and to manifest those dreams and to watch them realize into women's lives. That's what we do with 100 Most Powerful Women. And, if that's something that you're needing some help with, because, we were never meant to do this alone. It can be a lonely road out there in terms of, as we're building and growing successful businesses and not throwing in the towel, trying to navigate what's next in our life. And that's what Jackie and I do is we work with 100 women. We mentor them to be able to look like a million, feel like a million, impact millions, and make millions of dollars. Because we know what that feels like in our lives. It's what we want for every woman in this world and what we know is possible for every woman in this world. And so that's what we do is we help women do that. And if that's something that you're interested in terms of how this might look for you, is that we do info sessions, our Millionaire Masterminds every single month. And if you're interested in that, you can join us in the next one. I'll put the link in the comments below. We only work with 10 ladies during a Millionaire Mastermind because it is an opportunity for Jackie and I to learn about your big dreams and how we can help you with manifesting those into your life, what that could look like. And so that's why we keep those groups small, but we always run a mastermind every month. So if that's one is full, there'll be another one definitely in May. But I'll put the link in the comments below that if you're interested, if you're ready to dream big for your life and to really watch that magic happen in your life, well, we'd love to help you with it. Any final thoughts, Jackie, in terms of the power of dreaming big and what you wanted to share today?
Yeah, well, look, I think, the thing with 100 Most Powerful Women, look like a million, feel like a million, impact millions, and make millions of dollars. Even that tagline requires you to be able to open up and expand and really start imagining what that would be like for you. What would it be like if you felt like $1 million? If you woke up every morning just feeling on fire and alive and excited about your life? What would that feel like? What would it feel like if you knew that you looked good, you had the confidence? Because how we feel about ourselves determines our entire life. And sometimes the simple things like the shallow stuff, as I call it, the little changes to maybe a little new top or maybe some lipstick or something, that shallow stuff can help us feel better about our lives, ourselves, and how we feel about ourselves determines our entire life. That's why the shallow stuff matters. That's why feeling good and looking good really does matter. And looking good is in the eye of the beholder. This is not looking good in a certain way. This is looking good so that you look at yourself and you go, I feel good about myself. Because then you walk out into the world with confidence and you become magnetic and you become irresistible to human beings and therefore also to opportunities. And so it does require you to open your mind and your heart to think a little bigger, to imagine what it would be like to look like $1 million, to feel like $1 million every day, to be able to impact millions of people or animals or this beautiful planet that we live on. What would it be like if you could make the kind of impact that you've maybe just allowed yourself to think about just a little bit? And what would it be like to earn millions of dollars a year? Millions of dollars a year. What would that do for you? So really think about that, get excited about it, and know that we know how to help you get there. We really, really do. We know how to help you expand your mind, dream bigger, think bigger, walk in the consciousness of the woman who already has all of those things. It doesn't happen overnight. It is a process. And we hold your hand through it all. And we also give you the nuts and bolts as to how to actually go about bringing in the millions. And you don't have to know how, because we do. That's what I have to say about MBW.
Absolutely, Jackie. Well said. Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. If you have any questions of any of the content that we had talked about today, feel free to throw it in the comments below. We love your questions. If you have a show idea or a topic that you would like Jackie and I to talk about in an upcoming episode, feel free to share your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions, because really there's no topic that's off limits for Jackie and I. And anything that'll help you on your journey of looking like a million, feeling like a million, impacting millions, and making millions of dollars. As I said, we want that for every woman in this world. So thank you, everyone, for joining us. And be sure to watch next week with another episode of So You Want to Be a Millionaire.
Bye.